Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing Justin Timberlake's Everything I Thought It Was album, going track by track, and let's get into it. So track 1 is Memphis, and I get what he was trying to say with the subject matter in this song, kind of talking about being a kid in Memphis, the trials and tribulations he had to go through to get to fame, and how empty that can feel and all those things. I just wish that it would have translated into a good song. The whole rapping, I don't know why he decided to do that. Good idea, it's just horrible execution. I don't like the song. I get why he tried to open up the album with it, but I feel like it kind of does the album a disservice because it makes you think that it's going to be more insightful and personal than it actually really is. So a skip for me. Track 2 is Fucking Up the Disco. Oh, I hate the intro to this, how he's like referencing himself, talking about playing the JT album or whatever. It just makes me cringe every single time I hear the intro. It didn't need to be on the song. It really didn't. And it's like there's pockets of the song that I like, but as a song, I don't like it. People who keep saying that it needs to be a single, no. Yeah, it's a chop for me. Now on to track 3, No Angels. So this is where the album really starts to me. On the past 2 songs, we got some bullshit. He finally decided to start making good music at track 3. So that is where I start the album every single time. And I think this one has a great groove to it. It's a nice listen overall. I love the chorus. I think it's super catchy. I like the video as well. I think it's an interesting concept. I'm glad that he's pushing it as a single. Works for the radio. You like listening to it. This is just good Justin Timberlake music. It makes sense with the scope of this album. I like the vocals in here a lot. Now on to track 4, Play. So I believe this has like funk elements to it, and it's a great listen in my opinion. You know, kind of that subtle flex at the beginning. I really like that, talking about I've been making impressions since I was barely 11, you know, being in the spotlight that long. So I like that. I do. And you know, it has a good production to it. I liked his vocals on it. I thought the vocal delivery on the song was interesting enough. And I was listening to this one interview that he did. I'll link it down below in the description because it gave me a little bit more insight on the album. But he's basically saying that Ryan Tedder kind of sent him over this idea. I would not have pictured Ryan Tedder behind this, but in a way it kind of makes sense. So I really enjoyed the song. Now on to track 5, Technicolor. So this track is excellent. You know, this is definitely a career highlight in my opinion. If you only have time to listen to a few tracks of this album, this is one that you must listen to. You know, it's very much giving me 2020 experience vibes in terms of how long the song is, and also just in terms of the production as well. And something interesting about this song is he basically said it was like 2 different songs, and then the first part he called it interlude, and then it led into this song. And it was like, you know what, let me put it together, and I'm really glad that he did, because the transition from the first part to the second part is excellent. I think it has a phenomenal production to it. I love how that progresses as well. His vocals in here are spectacular. I really like the layering as well that he does, and just how full that it can sound. He was very intentional with that. And then I even really like the pre-chorus whenever he adds that like one background vocal into it. I kind of wish you would have had that for the rest of the song, because I'm listening to the rest of the song anticipating for it to be there, and then it's not. But I really like that little touch to it as well. Great lyrics. This is a fine piece, one of the best songs on the album, and I really like that it doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome. I feel like the pacing of it is just perfect, and I really appreciate this song. I do. Definitely been one that I've been replaying a lot, and I'm just in awe every single time. Now on to track 6, Drown. So I think that this one has a fascinating soundscape. I've been enjoying listening to it in that respect. The lyrics are basically about betrayal. You know, how could you do all this to me? I've done all this for you, and you're basically letting me drown. You know, you're not saving me at all, anything like that. So it's interesting in that aspect. You know, I like the vocals in here. I think the chorus is super catchy. This was another single, another good choice for a single made by him in my opinion. So I've been enjoying this one, and it's a nice follow-up to Technicolor because the brilliance of that, and you know, I think it complements it quite well in that respect. I also really love the bridge here. I think that it's beautiful to listen to. I think that it's cool. It's a moment of introspection. I like the lyrics in here a lot. Definitely one of the best bridges on the album. Now to track 7, Liar featuring Fireboy DML. And this is a cute light track. I like it. I don't remember what specific genre that this is. I think it's a little bit different than I normally hear Justin Timberlake on. But you know, I enjoyed him on it. I like the feature on it as well. It feels like a little palette cleanser in a sense, so I don't mind it. Now on to track 8, Infinity Sex. This one is a lot of fun to listen to. I think that it has a really great groove to it. You know, the lyrics are cute. They don't take themselves too seriously. I liked his vocals here a lot, and the vocal delivery definitely stands out to me on this album for sure. I like their production to it. I think it's a really enjoyable track, and it's definitely one of my favorites on this album. And he said that Calvin Harris like sent him the idea for it, and I think he said that they like switch it up or slowed it down or something that him and Timbaland did to it. So it'd be kind of interesting to hear what the original idea was, but I trust that they transformed it into what I ultimately like the most and would want to hear the most. I get why you necessarily wouldn't like this song, but it's another glimpse of fun on the sound, which I think we really needed. Now on to track 9, Love and War. I mean, I can appreciate the song for what it is. I think it's a good song. I think just in comparison to like the last songs and a lot of the songs in the album, it's kind of on the lower end for me. So it's not one that I'm really looking forward to. It's kind of a skip for me, but it's not a bad song at all. And now to track 10, Sanctified, featuring Toby Nwigwe. So I love this song whenever I first heard it on SNL, and I feel like this kind of packed the punch and really gave me what I needed in a way that Selfish just didn't. And believe me, I will talk about that later. And I just think that this is a super cool song to listen to. In terms of his vocal delivery, I thought the Michael reference was really cool and a nice play on words as well. I just really enjoyed it overall, and it was something that I thought was really catchy, and it just had something about it that really drew me to it. And it's like, this is a Justin Timberlake that I wanted to listen to. So, you know, in that respect, I really do like the song. In terms of the feature, I don't care for it. Every time the feature comes on, I'm gonna skip past it to the end of the song and then I'm going on about my day. And another thing I'll say is that the live version is definitely better than the album version. The album version kind of feels a little bit flat to me, and I still do enjoy it and everything, but the live version, he just kind of kicked it into high gear, and then the like other vocal that he has on there is kind of missing in the studio version for me. So I still like it though. It's gonna be one of my favorites off this album for sure, and definitely one that I'd recommend to listen to if you only have limited time. Now on to track 11, My Favorite Drug. I think the production is interesting, and especially the way that they produce the vocals. I actually am very intrigued by that as well. I like the lyrics and everything like that, and another really fun song to listen to, and I can appreciate its placement in the album. Now to track 12, Flame. I like this one a lot. You know, in terms of the production, it's very much giving me shades of What Goes Around Comes Around off of the Future Sex Love Sounds album, and I loved his vocal delivery on here as well. And yeah, I think there's something a little bit haunting about the song that I really like. I like the lyrics, I like how he wrote it, I think that it's catchy. And the only part that I don't like about the song is the last section when it has like that auto-tune on his voice, I believe, or melody, or whatever he did, that vocal effect. I just don't like it. I just don't like that part of the song, so I'm gonna skip past that part to the end every single time, but besides, I enjoy it. Now on to track 13, Imagination. I think that the vocal intro on the song is just breathtaking to listen to. There's kind of a sense of calmness that I feel listening to it, and it just really gets me geared in for the song. So I really like what he did with the vocal production in the beginning of the song, and just the song in general. I think there's a lot to like, and this song is just blissful. It's a lot of fun to listen to. Again, another one that doesn't take itself too seriously, which I love. I think it's ridiculously catchy, and it's definitely one of the highlights of the album for me. This is like top 2 or 3 on this album. There's something that's so infectious about it, and it's phenomenal in my opinion. Down to track 14, What Lovers Do. This one has a really slick production to it, and I just plain enjoy listening to it, you know, especially with that vocal delivery there, with the lyrics. Everything on here pairs together quite nicely, so it's a good moment on the album for me. Now on to track 15, Selfish. So this was the lead single for this album. I think that this is a good song. I do want to say that I feel like the more that I've been listening to it, it's actually grown on me. However, I think the problem with releasing this as a lead single is it just feels very safe for him. I feel like his past lead singles, they kind of had a flair to them. They were exciting to listen to, and they just really drew you into the album. Not talking about Man of the Woods, don't even get me started on that album, but it just kind of feels like a disappointment in that sense. It kind of feels like a soft launch to me for a single, and then the second single is the real album. And I think his subsequent singles have definitely been better, but this as a lead single, I'm kind of scratching my head, because whenever I heard Sanctified, like I was mentioning, that's a song that was like, okay, let me see what he's giving on this album. It was very intriguing. It had a flash about it. It was interesting in terms of the vocal delivery, great vocals, great lyrics. There was something to be excited about with that song and the soundscape there. But this song, it just feels generic. It just feels bland. It feels like something he's already done before. My best comparison to this song would be Not a Bad Thing off of 2020 Experience Part 2. And I actually love that song. I think that's a great song. I remember hearing that at the time, and even re-listening to it, I still enjoy it. But that song is a lot better than this one, you know? So I think what he was trying to achieve with this song and everything, I think ultimately he kind of fell flat in his face in that respect, because I kind of expected more from him based off past releases. With all that being said, like I mentioned before, I think that this is a good song. You know, I think it has good songwriting. I think that it's catchy. The vocal on here is good. I just wish that he wouldn't put auto-tune or melody or whatever he put on his vocal. I feel like he does it on this song, the other song I was mentioning earlier, and a few times throughout this album, and I just feel like his voice doesn't need that. I don't know why some of these great singers are obsessed with putting these vocal effects on. I just feel like it kind of does a disservice to them, to the song, and to me as a listener, because I'm expecting something different, and then when you do that, it just kind of throws me off. I do enjoy the song for what it is. You know, I will say that, like I said, it has grown on me. I do prefer this AI version of it that they did with Mariah Carey's voice, though. Excellent, excellent. Whenever I got used to listening to that version, I came back to this version, it was so jarring. I kind of would like Mariah to officially cover it. Do I think that's gonna happen? Well, no. But you know, that's my thoughts on Selfish as it stands. Now on to track 16, Alone. I think that this is a great ballad on the album. His vocals really shines here. I like the bridge on here a lot. He said his wife was insistent that this is on the album, and I'm glad that he listened and put it on here because we needed that moment. Now on to track 17, Paradise featuring NSYNC. So I love this collaboration. I really like JC's lead vocals on here. I like Justin's. I like the bridge. The harmonies on here are insane. I can appreciate the vocals. This is just a stunning track to me, so I'm glad that we have it on the album. And now to the 18th and final song, Conditions. This song is all right. You know, I get what he's trying to say, but at the same time, I really don't like it, because he had some lyric talking about some, oh, if I left us without a pot to piss in or whatever, and it's just like, would you still love me if I utterly ruined our lives? And it's just, I kind of don't like that sentiment. I get loving people as they grow and change change, and you know, sometimes things happen, whether that be losing a job, health, all those things are understandable. But when it's kind of just like you pissed away your entire fortune, your entire legacy, or cheating, or all those things, I just feel like some things are forgivable. I feel like some things are just kind of putting you in a bad position on purpose, and I feel like it's coming off as selfish. That's why I don't really like the song and the sentiments that he's kind of having there. It's not as bad as I remember, but I don't love it, so the album ends at paradise for me. Now on to my overall thoughts on this album. So for me, I'm gonna give this a good 7.5 out of 10. You know, I think it's fair because it had like 4 skips on this album at least. I wish you would have chopped this album down to 13 or 14 songs. I think the album would have been stronger for it. It feels like there's a little bit of filler on this album. You know, Love and War, You Can Go, and the other songs that I mentioned, in my opinion at least. But most of the material on here I think is great. I think that this is worth giving a listen if you like Justin Timberlake already. I think you'll walk away with a few songs off of this album that you really enjoy. To recap, my favorite songs in here were Imagination, Technicolor, Sanctified, and Infinity Sex. My chops on the album, or my least favorites, were going to be Conditions, Love and War, Fucking Up the Disco, and Memphis. Overall, I feel like there's not much of an artistic evolution for him, and for me, that's fine, because what he tried to do with Man of the Woods, that album was trash. You know, outside of a few songs, Breeze Off the Pond is one of my favorite Justin Timberlake songs. I liked Higher Higher, I liked Midnight Summer Jam, but for every one of those songs, you're gonna have a song like Filthy, Supplies, Man of the Woods, Young Man. I get what he tried to do with the album, but the album was not good for a plethora of reasons, and that's why I'm not mad that I feel like it wasn't a huge artistic evolution. I think at its best, it's reminiscent of albums like 2020 Experience Part 1 and Future Sex Love Sound. It's not as good as those albums. I'm not trying to say that at all. I'm just saying that's the closest comparison that I and many others have come to, especially hearing songs like Flame and Technicolor, for example. One of my issues with this album is I feel like he tries to act like it has more substance than it really does. Talking about, this is my most personal album, this album feels like the most me. It's like, is that in the room with us necessarily? No, because it's like, you know, we get little glimpses on songs like Memphis and then Conditions for sure, and I already said why I don't like those, so it's like he tried a little bit, but overall, when you're starting off with Memphis, I'm expecting you to make it a more personal album than we actually kind of really got. A lot of the songs are just about relationships and sex, which is fine. That doesn't really bother me, but again, don't try to say that it's a very personal album to you and it feels like the most me, when again, you've had more depth on this on Man of the Woods. You know, like I said, I don't like it. I get what he was trying to do, but at least there was some kind of attempt there. I just feel like what he's saying in a sense and what the album actually is two different things. So I just don't know why he's trying to say it like that. You know, artists say that all the time when they're promoting albums, but I just feel like that's not true, especially if you listen to this album. There's not a whole lot of introspection that's really going on throughout there. And like I said, it could have had more depth to it, but at the same time, I like the songs enough that I can kind of ignore it to a certain extent and everything, because I'm not necessarily asking for a really personal album from him or for most artists for the most part. I want you to give me good songs. And if you give me that and I walk away with that, then that's all I really care about for the most part. So it doesn't really bother me too much. I just thought that that was the point to me. I don't care for the album cover too much. It just seems very generic, very bland, you know. I like the alternate covers a lot more. Even his photo shoots, I'm liking that a lot more than this album cover. I will say, in terms of the sales and everything like that for this album first week, I believe it was a number 4 album, which isn't too shabby. I really thought he was gonna get top 2, but with all the controversy, the chickens came to roost. I'm certainly not gonna defend him as a person because I don't like him as a person. I just like his music and everything like that. But I think part of that kind of ties into the controversies when he released the album, and then also having Selfish as a lead single, I think did hurt him in the respect and promotion and things like that. So that is my honest review of Justin Timberlake's Everything I Thought It Was album. And I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What is your favorite song? What is your least favorite song? What are your thoughts on this album? How are you ranking it in Justin's discography? Are you recommending it to other people? You know, I want to know your thoughts on that. If you guys want to see a Justin Timberlake related video, I did a video on my second YouTube channel, and it was a March Madness bracket, and you guys can go see who I picked, who my winner was for that bracket. It was a lot of fun to do. I'll throw in the cards right here so you guys can check it out. I'll link it at the end of this video and down below in the description. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, give it a like down below. It helps me out a lot in YouTube algorithm. I very much appreciate it. You can subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Hit the bell, you get a notification if I want to post, not miss variety videos come out. First link down below in the description will be my second channel. A lot of it is just me reposting TikToks, but not all. I just recently did an unboxing of Beyonce's Cowboy album. I do concert reviews, you know, I do videos on sports sometimes, so you guys can check me out on there. It's been a lot of fun. Haven't missed a video since December. I'm on fire, and now it is April, so more is to come. I'm excited for you guys to see what I have lined up. I have 2 Twitter accounts, they'll be linked down below. I'm on every single day. My Instagram, my 2 TikTok accounts, my Spotify. I made an Airbuds account so you can kind of see what I'm listening to in real time if you want to follow me. Lastly, links to educate you guys on important situations. Free Palestine, we must educate ourselves on this cause. If you want to donate or learn more, I have links for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.